Hey everyone, so a very popular theory that has been going around for a long time is that Zoro is going to kill Kaido. And today I'm going to break down why this is such a terrible idea, not necessarily just because it's unlikely to happen, but also because if it did happen, it would probably be the worst moment in the story for Zoro. So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe for more One Piece videos every week. In the same way you want Zoro to protect Wano from Kaido, make sure you protect yourself with Surfshark, the sponsor for this video. Surfshark is the VPN I use. I know many of you use VPNs, and in case you don't know, VPNs let you easily change your location online to literally anywhere you want on the planet. So the last time you looked up a TV show or movie and saw that it's only available for streaming in certain countries, you could actually instantly access that with Surfshark VPN. So basically hundreds of more options to select from in terms of anime, movies, and TV. Now, the important part is using a secure VPN that encrypts your data. What does that mean? Well, it means that while you're virtually traveling the globe, as long as you're using Surfshark VPN, your personal data is 100% protected. So you may as well be invisible. Your personal data cannot be acquired by big companies or cyber criminals. And on top of this, Surfshark VPN automatically blocks ads and malware. You are completely protected no matter where you virtually travel to or what you watch. Not even Surfshark itself knows what you do online. So, instant access to countless anime, movies, and TV shows that were blocked for you before, your data completely protected, no ads, no malware, and for my viewers, you can actually get Surfshark right now today for 83% off and 3 months free by using my code MORGE. The link is in the description below. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have literally zero risk trying it out. Again, link in the description below. Now, this is going to be an honest look at Zoro killing Kaido. So I am actually going to be bringing up and looking at evidence for Zoro killing Kaido, which does in fact exist. So Zoro fans, wait till the end of the video before you start typing away. Because even though there is some evidence for it happening, it is 1, unlikely, and 2, I don't think you realize exactly what you're asking for. I promise you, Zoro fans, if you think it through a little bit, you would not like Zoro killing Kaido, and by the end you'll understand why. So to start with, the push for Zoro killing Kaido can be broken into 2 camps. So 1, the camp that believes that Luffy versus Kaido will still be a thing, and that Luffy will even probably get the finishing blow, but that Zoro will be the one to actually kill Kaido afterwards. And then there's the camp that believes that Zoro will be the one doing the finishing blow and killing Kaido in the process. So basically option A is like a team effort with Luffy mainly responsible for the defeat, but Zoro getting the kill. And option B is, I guess, also a team effort, but maybe more Zoro skewed, and Zoro is the one who ultimately defeats and kills Kaido in the process. Now, we're gonna address option B first, since that is easier to disprove. So is there a world where Zoro will be the main force in defeating Kaido, including getting the kill? I think this option did have some small amount of merit back earlier in the Onigashima battle on the roof, when the potential was there for maybe Luffy to take down Big Mom and Zoro to then get Kaido. I don't think this personally ever really made sense, but I could at least somewhat understand how some readers could believe in this sort of matchup split. However, at this point, it just looks like no, Kaido is clearly Luffy's opponent first and foremost. It's not just the way things are framed right now, since obviously parts can move around as they have been doing throughout Onigashima. Not to mention this probably isn't the final battle, but we won't talk about that here, that video is still coming. But even disregarding the current setup of the battle, just look at the narrative setup for Luffy to be the main one to defeat Kaido. Over numerous arcs since the New World began, Luffy has expressed his goal, his specific goal of defeating the 4 Emperors. The 4 Emperors are his obstacles towards becoming Pirate King, the individuals he needs to surpass in order to achieve his goal. The 4 Emperors are to Luffy what Mihawk is to Zoro. Saying Zoro will be taking down the Pirate Emperors is similar to saying Luffy would take down the world's strongest swordsman. And it's not even just the 4 Emperors in general. Luffy is very specific in that Kaido is his personal goal at the moment. Kaido has never been expressly Zoro's personal goal throughout the hundreds of chapters of build-up in the New World. The most Zoro has expressed is a last-minute desire during the battle itself to go up and assist Luffy in the fight against Kaido. Not to mention, within the arc of Wano itself, there has been constant momentum in Luffy's storyline building towards him defeating Kaido. Starting with obviously from Act 1 where he fought and was defeated by Kaido, to Act 2 where he spent the entirety of the act training with the singular goal of finding a way to defeat Kaido in mind, and repeatedly reiterating that he is going to beat Kaido. Then of course the rooftop battle where Luffy was the main force in the fight throughout, and the fight even ultimately came down to simply Luffy versus Kaido 1v1. Not to mention the challenge for Luffy that is being set up throughout these repeated encounters, with the first encounter, Kaido telling Luffy he is not a king, and the second encounter, Kaido telling Luffy he is not Joy Boy, and yet at the same time, as Luffy's success begins to increase, we see Kaido acknowledging the rising potential of Luffy. The entire framework of Luffy versus Kaido is whether or not Luffy can reach the heights he seems to have the potential to achieve, the heights Kaido continually tells him he cannot achieve, but seems to simultaneously be realizing the possibility of. Not to mention just the general trend of, an entire 1,000-chapter series of Luffy always being the one to defeat the main villain. Plus the actual relationship, the personal antagonistic relationship that is developing between Kaido and Luffy over multiple fights. So all of that is to say that I think that there is very little reason to think that Kaido's ultimate defeat and death would involve Zoro just coming in, stealing the spotlight from Luffy, dealing the final damage to Kaido, and finishing him off with the killing blow. I literally don't think there is a single reason to think that Luffy versus Kaido would turn into mainly Zoro versus Kaido at the end, ending with Zoro killing him. Now, the other option that I mentioned earlier, the more popular option that more people believe, is Luffy being the main factor in Kaido's defeat, and Zoro simply being the one to come in and kill him at the end, after he's been defeated. That has some merit. And again, I'll be honest, for the diehard Zoro killing Kaido fans here, there is reason to believe Zoro could kill Kaido. For starters, Zoro is based off Ryuma from Oda's one-shot Monsters, which was about a swordsman killing a dragon. The Zoro-Ryuma parallels have been played up obviously very heavily throughout this arc, and what do you know, there's a dragon in this arc as well, and Zoro has at least expressed interest in fighting Kaido and has been involved in the battle against Kaido. Not to mention, this whole storyline to defeat Kaido started in Punk Hazard, and actually the very first scene of Punk Hazard was Zoro killing a dragon. And interestingly, it was specifically Luffy and Zoro who took on the dragon, similar to how Luffy and Zoro fought Kaido together, and in the battle against the dragon, it was actually Luffy who provided an assist to Zoro so that Zoro could be the one to ultimately kill the dragon. So that could be viewed as foreshadowing there. And on top of that, we have Yasue's quote that no one has taken Kaido's head, and that quote could also be looked at as a setup that will get a payoff. And we know that Luffy is not the type to cut off people's heads. And finally, even just looking at the one major Zoro and Kaido interaction that we got, with Zoro finally cutting Kaido and getting a scar, yes, it was a great moment for Zoro, but it was still not enough for Kaido to acknowledge Zoro as a swordsman or samurai comparable to Oden. When Kaido fought the Scabbards, he was unimpressed and said that there will never be another swordsman like Oden. And even Zoro was not satisfied with the damage he dealt to Kaido, so there is some level of acknowledgement from Kaido that Zoro has yet to achieve. And I can't imagine he won't achieve that considering how much the Oden parallels have been played up for Zoro throughout the arc. How much the Ryuma parallels have been played up, the fact that Zoro seems to be a long-lost son of Wano at this point, the fact that Zoro seems to be only just touching the tip of the iceberg in terms of his latent Conqueror's Haki abilities, and the fact that Zoro himself was not satisfied with what he did against Kaido. I would definitely imagine that Zoro is not done against Kaido, and from previous pieces of evidence I mentioned, I can see why that would lead some to believe that Zoro will kill Kaido. However, ultimately, I've made the case fairly clear before, it doesn't make that much sense for anyone to kill Kaido during the Wano War, because the constant throughout the series is simply that Luffy defeats the arc villains, and Luffy never kills the arc villains precisely because they are supposed to see their dreams go unfulfilled. So you have to realize that with a villain like Kaido, whose dream is specifically to die, to be killed in a glorious manner, it only makes sense for him to have an inglorious death or not die at all. We know that is one of Kaido's driving motivations. We have his quotes regarding Whitebeard's death and Oden's death. That is part of Kaido's dream, to have a grand death like they did, which by definition means he won't achieve it because that is the rule of the series for villains. The point of how Oda has Luffy defeat the villains of One Piece so that they do not get to see their dreams play out, that is how Luffy crushes them, by robbing them of their dreams rather than killing them. So it is very, very strange to me that with the one villain who is actually doubly likely to not be killed, because Oda prefers to have the villain's dreams crushed rather than for the villain to be killed, and Kaido's dream itself is to be killed, that this is the one villain that people really seem to think is going to die. Let alone that Zoro would kill him when the Straw Hats have a kill count of absolutely 0 across the entire 1,000 chapters that we have seen them on screen. So for Zoro to kill Kaido would break a lot of rules in the series. If Oda wants Zoro to kill a dragon, he's already gotten that visual moment on an artificial creature back in Punk Hazard. Oda doesn't have the Straw Hats kill real characters. Kaido could possibly be killed after the war, since specifically his dream is to die in a grand manner, similar to a Whitebeard or an Oden. So he could still technically be killed, but just in an inglorious, non-memorable manner, probably after the war, perhaps an imprisoned Kaido being assassinated or someone finds a way to backstab him, etc. But all of that would be post being defeated, as that would not be the grand death that Kaido dreams of, since he's not dying during this big Onigashima war. I still maintain all the reasons I said before of Zoro getting another significant round against Kaido, and I've talked in past videos about how it seems more so set up with Zoro's talk of leadership and his own blooming Conqueror's haki this arc, as well as the parallels to the role Zoro played in leading the crew against Oars during Thriller Bark, that Zoro may get a rematch against Kaido in a context where Zoro is having to lead the Straw Hats or other allied forces when Luffy is temporarily down for the count. I imagine Zoro can have an even more impressive feat against Kaido than he already has, one that would satisfy him and have Kaido acknowledge him the way he did Oden. But the arc would still ultimately end with Luffy having to finish the job, as it always does. And if you don't believe me and prefer to believe that, no, the evidence is still there, we don't care about past villains in this particular case, the Wano arc, this exception, Zoro is just gonna kill Kaido after Luffy beats him, well then, Zoro killing Kaido fans, let's talk about it, because you really don't know what you're asking for. You haven't exactly thought this one through. I've talked about this multiple times before in streams, but I have to lay it out for you in video format at this point, because I don't think I'm reaching enough people. If you imagine Zoro killing Kaido after Luffy beats him, then you just imagine basically the most pathetic move Zoro could ever do in the story. No true Zoro fan would ever want to see their badass hero perform such a pathetic act. Newsflash, people, killing a beaten, helpless person after someone else defeated them is not badass. Like, actually try to imagine the scene that you were talking about. Everyone is exhausted, everyone is tired, it's the final clash, it's Luffy versus Kaido. Luffy is able to get that final dramatic blow in and finally topple Kaido and make the invincible monster collapse. Luffy defeated Kaido. Now, as per usual, everyone is cheering, celebrating, this was the big moment. And then what, Zoro walks up behind Kaido's unconscious, unmoving body and like cuts off his head? Like, what the f? One, that's not badass in any sense of the word. Like, keep in mind, the role you're imagining for Zoro in this fantasy of Zoro killing Kaido is these guys. You think the big moment for Zoro this arc is just being, you know, like guard number 2 from chapter 1. That is very literally what you are looking forward to. Not Zoro having, you know, a big moment against Kaido in an actual fight. You are looking forward to the fight being over, Kaido being defeated by Luffy, by team effort, whatever, but Kaido is defeated. And you imagine Zoro being Marine Guard number 2, who will kill Kaido after all the work is done. Like, if you think that's impressive or epic, then you are telling me that these 2 Marine Guards are the coolest, most badass characters in the story. I mean, forget Kaido, these guys killed the freaking Pirate King. They are the men who killed Gold Roger. Aren't these just like the most badass characters in the story? You know, it doesn't matter that they weren't the ones who defeated him. Who cares about that? Marine guards killing Roger. That's my favorite moment. Those are my goats. Keep in mind, even if Zoro did kill Kaido the way you guys are envisioning it, he would still never be able to live up to these two Marine guards who killed the Pirate King, since killing Roger is obviously far more impressive than killing Kaido. Like, seriously think about what you're talking about, because you can't have it both ways. Either you're saying Zoro is the one to actually defeat Kaido and kill him in the process, which would actually be badass, but it's also just delusional because the entire story is set up for Luffy to defeat Kaido. Or you believe that Luffy will defeat Kaido and Zoro will then kill Kaido, which is, I guess, more plausible, but is also basically the dumbest, most pathetic, unimpressive thing you could ever want for a character. And if you actually value that as a badass moment, then you have to acknowledge that these Marine guards are the most badass characters in the series who have the ultimate feat of killing Roger. And really just think about the character you are talking about here. You're talking about Zoro. Maybe in some stories, sure, knifing an already defeated opponent in the back to finish them off can be portrayed as cool. Maybe if it's like an assassin type character or something. But we're talking about Zoro, the most unreasonably honorable fighter in the series, the guy who exclusively places value on taking the hardest challenge head on, the man who lives and dies by the rule that a wound on the back is a swordsman's shame. And you want this guy to behead an already defeated character. Like, even Kaido himself regretted attacking Oden when Oden had his back turned. And you want Zoro to just chop off Kaido's head when Kaido has already lost to Luffy. I hope this joke of a theory is put to rest, not because all of the arguments for it are necessarily that terrible, but because it would just be the worst writing imaginable. For a character like Zoro, having him pull off probably the most pathetic move in the entire series, and I'm still just baffled that fans are like actually looking forward to that and prefer that to the idea of something like Zoro, you know, actually taking Kaido head on again in a real battle and say, holding him off till Luffy gets back up, or even just setting up Luffy for a final blow, or at the very least giving him a new scar through combat that makes Kaido acknowledge him as the successor to Oden. But instead, people are looking forward to Zoro being Marine Guard number 2, and that's the highlight moment so many of you want. I can't say I understand it, but if you enjoyed this video, then definitely like, comment, and subscribe for more videos every week, and you can support me on Patreon for my extended thoughts on this and all future topics. And remember, you can get Surfshark today for 83% off and 3 extra months free with the code MORGE, link in the description below.